The voice of doubt is paralyzing your faith. Today, we're going to learn how to silence it. And by the end of this message, you'll discover the unbreakable engine that fuels your God-given potential, even when every fiber of your being yearns to quit. So many of us stand at the precipice of our God-given dreams, yet find ourselves rooted to the spot, not by external barriers, but by an internal paralysis. We wait for a surge of motivation, a bolt of inspiration, a feeling of readiness that often never arrives. We tell ourselves, tomorrow I'll start. When I feel better, I'll pray more. Once I have more energy, I'll tackle that challenge. But tomorrow never truly comes in the way we envision it. It's always today that we must act. This isn't just about self-help. It's about understanding a profound spiritual truth. God calls us to steadfastness, to a consistency that transcends our fleeting emotions. He doesn't ask us to feel like moving forward, but to move. The true battle isn't against outward circumstances as much as it is against our own internal resistance, the subtle whispers that tell us to stay comfortable, to postpone the difficult, to rely on a spark of enthusiasm that can vanish as quickly as it appears. This journey we are on, this walk of faith, demands more than good intentions. It demands an unwavering commitment to action, day in and day out, regardless of how we feel. It demands discipline, not as a harsh taskmaster, but as the faithful steward of the talents and purposes God has entrusted to us. This is the bedrock upon which genuine transformation is built, the quiet, persistent turning of the wheel that moves mountains. We often misdiagnose our spiritual and personal stagnation. We attribute it to a lack of prayer, a deficiency in faith, or even a divine withholding, when in reality, the root cause is often a simple yet profound lack of discipline. We mistake fleeting motivation for sustainable fuel. Think of it like this. Motivation is the spark plug, igniting the engine for a moment. But discipline is the entire engine itself, the consistent, rhythmic turning of gears that keeps the vehicle moving, hour after hour, mile after mile, through rough terrain and smooth. Without that engine, the most brilliant spark will simply fizzle out, leaving you stranded. We've been conditioned to chase the high of new beginnings, the thrill of a fresh start. But true progress isn't found in the initial burst. It's forged in the mundane, the repetitive, the often unglamorous act of showing up, even when every fiber of your being resists. This isn't just about what you accomplish. It's about who you become in the process. Every time you choose action over apathy, consistency over comfort, you are not just building a habit. You are building character, fortifying your spirit, and proving to yourself and to God that you are worthy of the call. This is the hidden power of discipline, the quiet force that transforms potential into reality. It's what separates those who dream from those who do. What dream has God planted in your heart that is waiting for the engine of discipline to be engaged? I invite you to consider that question, and then to take the first step. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What's one area where you know discipline needs to become your driving force? One of the most insidious obstacles we face is the comfort zone, a seemingly benign space that is, in truth, a trap. It promises safety and ease, but it delivers stagnation and regret. We cling to what is familiar, even if what is familiar is holding us back from the divine purpose God has for us. I remember Mark, a man I knew who ran a small community outreach program. He had a heart of gold, a vision that could move mountains, but his program was barely limping along. He'd spend hours brainstorming, praying, even fundraising, but when it came to the consistent, unglamorous work of follow-up calls, meticulous record-keeping, or showing up for early morning meetings, he'd find excuses. "I'm not a morning person," he'd say, or "I'll do it when I feel less drained." His intentions were pure, but his actions were inconsistent. He was waiting for motivation to strike, for the feeling to align with the doing. What he discovered, through a difficult period of near collapse for his program, was that growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens at the edge of it, where resistance is met with resolve, The principle of overcoming this obstacle is simple. Force yourself to begin. The hardest part is often the first step. Once you initiate the action, momentum builds, and the discomfort often dissipates, replaced by a sense of accomplishment. This isn't about ignoring your feelings, but about choosing a higher purpose over their temporary sway. Another formidable obstacle is procrastination, a thief of time and a sower of regret. We tell ourselves we'll do it later, that there's plenty of time, or that we need more information, more inspiration, more anything to avoid starting now. But the truth, a surprising revelation, is that procrastination is rarely about laziness. It's often a fear of discomfort, a reluctance to engage with something challenging or unpleasant. We dread the struggle, so we delay the start, inadvertently multiplying the discomfort as the task looms larger and larger. Consider the ancient wisdom. Do not put off until tomorrow what you can do today. This isn't just a quaint saying, it's a profound spiritual and practical truth. God calls us to be good stewards of our time, and procrastination undermines that stewardship. The practical application is to employ the 5-second rule, or simply to eat the frog first thing in the morning. Identify the most dreaded, most important task, and attack it immediately, with full effort. Don't think about it, just do it. That small victory, that immediate act of self-mastery, sets the tone for your entire day, creating a ripple effect of productivity and empowerment. It's about building a bias towards action, training your mind to prioritize the long-term gain over the immediate gratification of avoidance. When you conquer that initial resistance, you unlock a reservoir of energy and confidence you didn't know you possessed. Are you allowing the fear of discomfort to dictate your spiritual and personal progress? This brings us to a profound spiritual turning point, understanding that true discipline isn't about self-punishment, but self-love, and ultimately, love for God. It's an act of faith, a declaration that you trust God's plan enough to consistently show up and do your part, even when you don't see the full picture. The central biblical truth here is found in Galatians 6:9. Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. This isn't a promise of immediate reward, but a guarantee of eventual fruit for those who persevere. It's about planting seeds faithfully, day after day, week after week, even when the ground feels barren or the harvest seems far off. The transformation. Interior begins when you internalize this truth. Your consistent effort, fueled by faith, is never wasted. It's an investment in your spiritual future, in your character, and in the fulfillment of your divine purpose. Imagine a gardener who only tends to their garden when they feel inspired, when the sun is shining perfectly, or when they are in a particularly good mood. Their garden would yield nothing. But the disciplined gardener, who tends to it in rain or shine, through pests and weeds, is the one who enjoys a bountiful harvest. Your life, your spiritual walk, is that garden. The act of discipline, of showing up when you don't want to, is a powerful act of worship, demonstrating your reliance not on fleeting feelings, but on the enduring faithfulness of God and the promises of His Word. This realization opens up an entirely new perspective on challenges. They are no longer roadblocks, but crucibles, designed to refine and strengthen us. Mark, after nearly losing his program, had his own spiritual awakening. He stopped, waiting for motivation to strike, and instead began to pray for discipline, for the strength to act regardless of his feelings. He started waking up an hour earlier, not because he felt like it, but because he committed to it. He began making those follow-up calls first, before anything else, even when his stomach churned with anxiety. He stopped looking at the mountain of tasks and instead focused on the next single step. The transformation was remarkable. His program, once floundering, began to flourish. Donations increased, volunteers multiplied, and the impact on the community was undeniable. He didn't just survive, he thrived. This wasn't about a sudden surge of energy. It was about the consistent turning of the engine, fueled by a renewed spiritual resolve. His testimony became a powerful illustration of this truth. God doesn't just meet us where we are. He empowers us to move forward from where we are if we are willing to engage the discipline He has already equipped us with. The application of this truth extends beyond personal projects. It applies to your prayer life, your relationships, your financial stewardship, every area where consistency is key to growth and flourishing. So, where do we begin? The steps are practical, yet profoundly impactful. First, identify one small, consistent action you can take daily that aligns with your spiritual or personal goals. Don't overcomplicate it. Perhaps it's 5 minutes of prayer before checking your phone, or reading one chapter of scripture, or making that one difficult phone call. Second, commit to it, without compromise, for 30 days. Treat it like a non-negotiable appointment with yourself and with God. Third, eliminate distractions. This means turning off notifications, finding a quiet space, and focusing solely on the task at hand for its allotted time. This isn't about finding more time. It's about making better use of the time you have. Fourth, celebrate small victories. Acknowledging your consistency reinforces the habit and builds momentum. This renewed vision isn't about achieving perfection, but about embracing progress. It's about understanding that every single act of discipline, no matter how small, is a brick laid in the foundation of the life God is calling you to build. It's a quiet act of worship, a declaration of faith that you are a co-laborer with Christ, actively participating in your own transformation. This is your invitation to change, to step out of the cycle of waiting and into the rhythm of doing, powered by divine grace and personal commitment. As we consolidate this journey, remember that the disciplined life is not a restrictive one. It is a liberated one. It frees you from the tyranny of your fluctuating emotions, from the endless cycle of procrastination, and from the regret of unfulfilled potential. It is the path to truly experiencing the abundant life Christ promised. Imagine a future where you consistently show up for what truly matters, where your spiritual life is vibrant and growing, where your goals are not just aspirations but tangible realities, built brick by brick, day by day, through unwavering commitment. This isn't a fantasy. It's the inevitable outcome of consistent, God-honoring discipline. You possess the inherent power, divinely endowed, to transform your life. You have the ability to choose action over apathy, consistency over comfort, and purpose over fleeting pleasure. This isn't just about achieving goals. It's about proving to yourself and to the world what a faithful, disciplined life, lived in partnership with God, truly looks like. So don't just sit with these words. This is your moment to choose. If this message resonated with you, if it stirred something deep within your spirit, then I encourage you to share your own journey in the comments below. Let us know how you plan to embrace this engine of discipline in your life. Your story might be the very spark someone else needs to ignite their own transformation. And if you're ready to dive deeper into building a life of unwavering purpose, consider joining our community for more insights and encouragement on this incredible journey of faith.